hearing for years and years and years. These incredible statements out of the chiefs over at UEDI. Every time they're criticized, there was recently this controversy about Google phones pushing the phone number for UEDI into everybody's phone, right? And somehow Google puts out a statement and goes, oh, it was our fault. It was inadvertent. It was a mistake. 95% of the market share, maybe that's not the exact number, please check the fact on that, but they have an extraordinary amount of the market share of India. You know, everyone in India is using an Android phone unless they're rich enough to afford an iPhone. And when you have that kind of position, it's very difficult to make a change that affects the phones of everybody in a country, right? And yet somehow, they managed to push this phone number to everybody. Now, UEDI they were not concerned that this happened. They said, oh, the phone number's wrong. It wasn't us. It was Google's fault. It was somebody else. God, we don't know what happened, but you shouldn't use this to attack the system. You know, it's wrong. It's saving you money. It's protecting people from being cheated. It's all you need to worry about. Anybody who doesn't agree with this system, their vested interests, they're scaremongering, don't listen to them, right? But when we start to look at this, it gets a little bit strange. The number one thing they always say in every public statement is your data is safe. Data hasn't been breached, their biometrics are secure, but nobody actually said otherwise. The idea isn't that you can go on the internet and access anybody's Adhaar information directly. It's that it's being leaked. And of course, this is how we get scandals like we've seen where officials from within UEDI are having their personal details, their private details leaked by people looking up their Adhaar numbers. The phone number that was pushed by Google to all of these handsets through an incredible mystery, no one knows how it happened, right? Google just woke up in the morning and said they wanted to do this. That doesn't sound convincing to me. But the UEDI people said, oh, it's the wrong number. It's not even our number to begin with. But it's the number that's printed on the back of your card. If the people who are providing the card, if the people who are creating a mandatory enrollment system that is forcing identity on people throughout the country to the point where there have been stories in India that you cannot have a child and get a birth certificate for that child unless you provide your Adhaar number, clearly something in this system is not working. Clearly people have concerns that are not unreasonable but eminently reasonable. And if this is the case, if the public generally is concerned, if there is an unrelenting train of scandals about this system, it seems that if this were a system that were concerned about the public's trust, they would respond to these in a reasonable way. They would look at the criticisms, they would address the systems, they would reform the system, instead of saying any criticism of us is illegitimate, it's scaremongering, we just need to move forward. Anytime we're talking about protecting cheating on social benefits, right, it sounds like a good thing. But if that were all that Adhaar did, no one would have arguments against it, right? No one would be complaining. The problem is, and perhaps the biggest crime behind this system, is that it's being used for things that are unrelated to what the government is paying for. Find in India right now a telecommunications company, a bank that doesn't know what Adhaar is. The government's not paying for it, right? If you want to open an account, are demanding an Adhaar number. And not just a number, they're demanding that you show them the physical card. This is creating a systemization of society, of the public, and this was not the stated intention of the program. You'll see people at UEDI saying this is not what the program is for. But if that's actually happening, how to address it, right? If the Adhaar system is to survive and work in the public's favor, the very first thing that should happen before this program entrenches itself any further in society is there should be criminal penalties. It doesn't matter if India is a democracy on paper, it ceases to become one in fact, because every democratic government gets its legitimacy from a single concept. And this is that people understand what the government is doing and they consent to it doing that. If the government's activities are happening without our knowledge, without our consent, without our agreement, they're not legitimate. It's not democratic. There's an old saying that goes, in a free society, when the people are afraid of government, there's tyranny.